We're probably going to get into a lot of deep philosophical life lessons, not just stream lessons.
Listen!
Hello and welcome everybody to Looking Beyond the Stream, episode 2. I'm Gamer Dad, joined with my co-host, Old Man Geras. Geras, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing, Gamer Dad?
I'm doing much better now that I have a live recording turned on. For
See, it's
those,
the simple things
it
that
is the
make it
simple
so much
things.
better.
If you're listening to the audio podcast, we're both laughing and smiling at each other because we've been talking for the last 25 minutes without recording. And I'm sure our editor is also enjoying that little comical piece as well. So I don't even know if this part's going to make it into the final cut, but my bad. So we're going to get started. And Garrus, what has your last 2 weeks been like since our last recording?
Well, the last 2 weeks have really been very busy. Work has kicked in full effect. Coming back from COVID, that was in the house. Prior to that, we talked about it in the last podcast. Looking for a new place to live, and then trying to stream with those two things competing has definitely and driving back and forth to both Penn State and the Ohio State University, trying to move kids out of or their apartments. I can't even say dormitories because they are apartments.
You know,
How about you?
I
Have
chuckle.
your weeks been?
I chuckle every time I hear somebody talk about Ohio State because it's
That's
not that it's called the Ohio State. It's that when you say it, the emphasis goes on the pause Ohio State. Every time
That's correct.
it's
There's
got
a little pause. You
there has
have
I
to
don't
put that
understand
pause in
why
there.
though. It's just I'm okay getting over that it's not the right. So I'm okay with accepting that and calling it the Ohio State. I can't understand the pause still escapes me. One day
Has
you'll
to
have
be
to educate me.
emphasized and paused between those two words.
I guess.
They've registered that, or I think they were trying to.
I mean, look, if there's a comma there, I'm in. But anyway, so you've had a busy week. I've had the same kind of busy week. We've both been doing lots of work stuff, I think. I have been exhausted and I've been getting dressed up because we went into the office this week, which puts a lot of stress at home with the two kids. Not to say that one person cannot parent two kids, right? I mean, 18-month-old and a 5-year-old poses its own difficulties for one person. It's a lot of work. But at the same time, when you're home for 2 years and you have that constant support structure that if you need an extra set of hands, I can run downstairs and help. And then you turn and go, hey, honey, you're not here, right? It poses its own kind of stress, but there's a good balance there that you can find with that, which surprisingly or coincidentally happens to be our topic tonight. I feel like you and I have had the perfect 2 weeks to really get into this topic tonight. And this wasn't by plan. We didn't pick this content tonight because of our 2 weeks. It just happened to be kind of where we wanted to go from episode 1 of just taking that first step, hit the button, get going, right? Now we want to talk about the ways to not burn out and everything. But I don't know, it's just an interesting design with how we got here to this episode tonight.
It is. And
no, go ahead.
Proof. If you listen to last week's episode, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, this is what we said we were going to talk about. So we really did not plan for, I don't think anybody would want the type of work weeks that we've both had.
No, because I'm still working after this episode.
As am I. I don't even want to think about that, what's waiting for me. But, you brought up an interesting thing, which was the stress at home. And we can dig into that later. But you know what? I'm going to hold that because I want to call out something specifically for that. So I'm sure my old man brain will make me forget that. If I do, before we stop talking about it, call me out on that.
Sure. Absolutely. You know what? All stress aside from our bad weeks or our rough, busy weeks, there's one cool thing. Um, I got out of the house. So Garrus is laughing because he's known me for it. You've known me for at least 4 years, maybe. Um,
Mm,
long time.
yeah, long time.
For most of my streaming career, um, I have been much more locked down than most due to risks to my youngest. And it finally got kind of safe enough, and there was an opportunity the week of my birthday. My dad took me to the movies, and I got to see Top Gun Maverick at like 10 something in the morning one morning, uh, when we pretty much had the entire theater to ourselves. So it was great. No spoilers. Better than the first.
Mm.
Much more realistic on the air flight. They put a lot of emphasis into ensuring that any of the use of the aircraft was realistic, uh, to the point where they even took these actors up in trainers, in some of the actual planes. I think part of it was
Mm.
in some of the actual trainer versions, like the 2-seat trainers. So when you see somebody in a cockpit kind of like wobbling around, grunting and all that, I really got the feeling that was like legitimately that actor reacting that way to being hurled around an airplane.
And I know the exact scene that you're talking about.
Mhm.
I will say again, spoiler free,
Mm.
because you have to watch this movie. I'm just going to say that.
My Air Force brother, right, he was in Air Force ROTC, was unfortunately medically removed, but he had a fighter pilot spot lined up
Mm.
for
Wow.
graduation, and those are like, um, for anybody who's seen the first Top Gun, or if you've seen this Top Gun, the general concept of how fighter pilots are very cocky, very. I mean, that is it. That is the competitive nature, but then also the camaraderie, right? You will hate them while you're competing for scores, but to quote the first movie, "You can be my wingman anytime." That's the mentality of it. So, um, it was very. I'll just say it was very realistic, and it was very relaxing to get out of the house, except for the fact that I lost my wedding ring that day.
No,
It
did you
fell off.
really?
It fell off my hand the night before because I've lost enough weight apparently that it fell off my finger in my sleep. And I'm in the
Wait,
movie theater and I reach into the popcorn bag and then I, come back up and I'm like, where is it? So you see a red we got silicone rings for the two of us as well, which uh, we found it, fell off at night. It was under the bed on the hardwood floor.
good.
And the whole movie I'm holding my hand, rubbing my ring finger where my ring is because I'm like, it feels so we had a good laugh. My dad and I had a good laugh. My wife was laughing about it. And yeah, so it was a good end of the birthday week, leading into a pretty busy work week.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I was also able to go and see the movie the same weekend that you were, your birthday weekend. So last weekend, uh, just, my, uh, because COVID was in the house, my daughters did not want to go out, even though I guess you're immune after you've had it.
Mhm.
Didn't know any of that, but they were just, yeah, we don't want to go. Like, you're missing a great movie. And it was a great movie. Of course, the request is, well, we're not going to go, but can you bring us back popcorn?
Wow.
So, I couldn't say, well, if you want popcorn, then you need to go with us to get it. So we brought back popcorn, but
Sure.
oh, it was such a good movie.
Hmm.
And Jurassic World, Part Two, Jurassic World Revolution. I don't know what it's called. The
Jurassic
new
Pork,
Jurassic
Pork. Wow.
Pork.
Jurassic Park, the apocalypse is really what it seems like to me. I haven't seen it yet. I want to.
I just came out too this weekend.
Yeah.
So that's it looks fantastic. The last one wasn't bad. It
Mm-mm.
wasn't great. It wasn't bad. And we saw dinosaurs getting out in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
I'm all good with that. I mean, that's fine.
Right. It was New York, and wasn't it New York in the first Jurassic Park series? Now the Jurassic World franchise, it was LA.
Mm,
I think so. I mean, it's the previews make it look like they're just combining all of the Jurassic Parks, Jurassic Worlds, and finally, we're going to get to see what happens when they answer the question of what happens when they not only get out, right? Because we see what happens when they get out, when they start to inhabit areas that they've gotten out to.
mhm.
That's going to be exciting to watch.
It is. It is. So looking forward to it, trying to figure out when we can go. And we'll have to talk in 2 weeks. We'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm
How
leaving
about
us a little bit
hobby
of,
time?
yeah, I'm leaving us a little bit of a gap for her to edit out. Right. Are we,
Yeah,
so hobby. Yeah. Hang
no worries.
I am like so tired from this week. hopefully, hopefully painting the skill can edit out that after the Jurassic Park conversation, all of that randomness. Um,
Our editor is fantastic.
she's
I
amazing.
have zero doubt that she can do that.
Yep. So hobbies. I know last time you said you were working on some Tyranid stuff or building them, priming them. How are they coming along?
Mhm. Well, they're coming along. I actually put paint to brush for the first time in a very, very, very long time and started painting them. So I have a number of models that have more than primer on them, actually,
Hmm.
at least three colors. Let's see. Well, black, I guess. White, blue.
What color is your flesh tone?
Four colors. Four colors. Flesh tone is wraith bone.
Okay. And
I'm
what's the
still.
carapace
I only have
colors?
GW paints.
Sure. What
I mean,
I mean, we just the general color. What's the carapace? Like a purple, a red,
it's
or
no. I went with the what is it called? There's a crab that's out there. If you remember a while ago, they came with that design where
Mhm.
the carapace is and I went with a dark blue.
Okay.
I actually used Uh, let's see, we're not being sponsored, so I'm not going to say company names. I used a paint that it's kind of color shifting.
Sure.
You probably know who that is.
Oh, that's gonna look amazing.
Yes. Well, if I had painting skills, I mean, that part will look good. It's just all the edging that I did around all the bits that stick out.
Hmm.
That's what kind of ruined that.
That was the tough spot.
I'm old. I don't have the eye hand fine motor skills to just go right along
Fair.
that. There are a couple places where you can see, like it spiked a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to do it. Got to practice. Got to get better. So yeah, I did hobby work with that. How about
Nice.
you? Anything on the painting side?
Yeah, I actually have made it much further along in the Baneblade. That big
Ooh,
giant tank, all 8 variants, although I found one of the gun barrels I forgot to prime and paint. Um, it's got the armor itself as the main base coat down over the primer, so now I gotta do some airbrush kind of fades and shading and then add in some of the accents. And then I'll just go to town on all the metallics. But it's coming alive. Doesn't look like it's got Bondo and paint color, right? Because the primer,
mm,
I had certain parts of it colored with the base coat and certain color parts of it still had the primer. It looked like some of the really old school vehicles, like some of your old school cars that had Bondo to fill up the rust spots. But it's all solid now. It's coming along. I'm excited about it. I built my entire Necromunda gang.
wow.
It's a well, you say wow.
Wow.
I
Well,
left all
which
of the
one did you
models.
do?
I went with Orlocks.
You did.
Yep,
Okay.
it's only an 8-person gang, but it's, the core set and the Arms Master set with the jump pack. So I built, just a couple models out of each piece. And then I also got the Forge World little trio. So there's the champion, um, I'm looking at them right here on my table. The champion, the heavy bolter, and just the regular um, ganger. So they're from the Forge World style, just to get some more variety. Um, so just a little 8-person gang. I got to prime them up and start painting them. But I also finally put some paint down on some bases for my Eldar Corsair kill team. Right, the space pirate Corsairs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
No paint on them yet. They're built, but I got
Mm.
their bases done, and they're
Are they custom bases or I
they're
know that.
by a local company. They're actually acrylic toppers, so you put different layers of the acrylic down to give it some depth, and you put it on the top of a standard base.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's supposed to look like a ship hull, and it's very. I did it very cartoony. There's some purples, some bright yellows, and some jade colors in there, um, to look like the inside of a very wild party kind of spaceship. Eldar space pirates, or
Eldar.
yeah, or just Eldar. Anybody knows?
They're Eldar.
Yeah, if anybody knows the history of them, the Harlequins are the big jesters and partiers. The Dark Eldar were. I mean, it was a wild, massive party. There's other ways to describe it. That's probably not family friendly, but
I think a wild party
mhm.
fits in really well, and
Yep,
we should probably stop with those words to describe
we'll
them.
leave it there. But
I would like to talk after the stream about those because I don't think I've heard anyone
mhm.
doing clear acrylic bases that you can layer up.
Oh,
That sounds
they're
really
not
good.
clear acrylic. It was, I mean, it's just black.
Or they're just regular
It's
acrylic
just
that.
regular, like 1/8 inch or 16th inch
Mm,
thick sheets of acrylic that are cut. Now they're designed to
mm,
go together a specific way. So the bottom layer has like the whole 32 millimeter disc cut out, and then certain parts of it have little dots to make it look like a mesh metallic surface.
mm.
And then the second layer on
Okay.
top of it, it frames in those areas so it looks like there's a screen mesh on the bottom layer, and then on top of it as a walking surface, stuff like that. So they're yeah, I'll show you which ones they are. They're really cool. I'm gonna put them on my
Yeah.
social media probably tonight or tomorrow. I'll take pictures of them before I put the
Excellent. Yeah.
models on them. Yeah.
That'll be great. That'll be great. And speaking of social media, everyone, please make sure you go to the link tree. You'll be able to find all the links on where you could find our stream here. We are, well, obviously on Facebook and Twitch, YouTube. We have our channel up there. Um, wow, every podcast provider has us. Feel free to click on that, take a look at us, link us. Looking beyond the stream, pretty much, if you search for that, you will find it.
Hmm. And make sure when you find those podcasts, if you could do us the favor of liking or subscribing or following, whatever the term for that social media aspect is. And then for the podcast, please give them a thumbs up and 5-star ratings, please.
And actually, that reviews, please. We want
Yes.
feedback.
Hmm.
Wait, we're kind of going into like not really an ad, but kind of the here's what we want.
Yeah.
We want feedback,
Yes.
please.
The Linktree has the Discord. It is the GD Creative Discord that's producing the podcast, but there's a whole section dedicated to the podcast. It's not just about getting people into my Discord. We've put a section there specifically for this. So if you're listening to this and you just want to join the conversation about the podcast, if you do anything, just jump into that Discord, follow the social medias, and tell us hi. Let us know what you think.
Please. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. And
S-
what sounds weird is if you don't like something, please come in and tell us you didn't like something, because we want to make sure we fix what isn't appealing to our viewership, but also we want to keep doing what is appealing. So uh, we'd love to hear both sides of the feedback.
Yeah, we will not, it will not be negative from us,
Mhm.
but we have to have that feedback. Makes a world of difference. We've talked about kind of what we've done on the hobby. Have you done anything else outside of that?
I just shifted stream schedule, which I'm sure will come up plenty of times in our main topic, but with the summer being here, daughter out of school, just opened up some more of my weekends. So I moved my Friday night
Mm.
streams to Wednesdays. So just something to unwind at night. I need to get myself back to self-care and streaming painting is a form of that, and for me anyway. So, I started to notice lately that with everything going on, my wife and I haven't really been doing much during the weeknights, so I felt like I was taking away on my side from too many things that we could do together, so I took the nights that we're not really doing much stuff as a family together and put that into my stream. And then now the nights that my family wanted to do stuff together, we have available, which will be a great topic of conversation when we shift into our main topic.
Absolutely. Anything on the video game
um,
side? How's Idle Champions coming along?
it's fun. I went to one of our mutual sites and I've applied for several keys to try and get access to some more stuff. I'm really enjoying it. I want to eventually start posting a lot more about it on social media because it's a fun game. I think it's no, I actually turned it off for this recording. Um, it's running in the background, but there's three champions they just brought back, I guess, in the current event. I unlocked those three, so I'm not sure if I'm much of a fan of them yet, but I've just been working through some of the newer missions that I've unlocked. It's cool. I got back in Icarus.
Really?
Hmm.
A new world boss, I believe.
Two new
Was
world
that
bosses. As
tempting?
of Friday, they unlocked the second world boss, which is the second map that they unlocked 2 weeks ago. I have not faced them yet.
Desert?
No, the so
No, we had desert already.
no, so the main map you and I used to play on, they have a second main map, not just a new area
Really?
of that map. They opened up the Styx map. Mhm.
Oh,
So they offer that
you're
as a free DLC for everybody who has the game. So you might want to make sure you've got it, um, and patch it if the game's still installed on your PC. But they unlocked the worm. They had a worm world
mm.
boss for the main map. The new map has a scorpion world boss. Haven't seen it
Oh,
yet,
wow.
but all of the different um main like big beasts, they have new different kinds of meats that the different animals drop, so it's not all just raw meat. There's different kinds that you can put on a drying rack now and make jerky and it's all sorts of cool stuff. So I was trying out all the new cooking stuff, trying out some of the new building stuff. Um, It's fun and it's heavily optimized now. It's not perfect, but it finally now feels like a 1.0 game, not an early release game.
Finally.
Finally.
Excellent. Well, that's really, really exciting. What, 3 months?
6 months.
We
But let's be honest, a lot of people have been dropping games at really the early access level and they've been doing full releases. And there's a lot of games to this day that still have not gotten to where it feels like a full game. Um, these guys really listened. It was rocky as hell, and that's why they offered the
Oh,
map for
yes.
free. They said, "Look, you guys put up with all of this. We appreciate your patience working with us as we got this out here. So we're offering this purchasable DLC for free to everybody to get you like a thank you for your patience as we get this game up and running." So,
That is really nice of
yeah.
them.
Yep.
And I'm glad that they've optimized it.
Hmm.
The big challenge I think I have, and I still have it installed, is still the download and install process. I have noticed it goes faster. It's no
Hmm.
longer start the update and come back an hour later and it's almost done. So it does seem to
Yeah.
be faster. That's really good because that was the largest complaint that I had.
Yep. So I got back into my Game Pass with that Icarus,
Good.
and then just whatever games came out on Game Pass. So I've been trying out Warhammer Battle Sector, um,
Mm.
Jurassic World 2. So,
Wait, that came out on Game Pass?
mhm, mhm.
Okay, so I know we talked about, wait, was it on this recording we talked about Jurassic World?
Yes,
Or was it on
this was the
prior one?
pre-recording where I forgot to hit record that you were going to go see it.
So the developers were actually streaming yesterday about the new DLC that's coming out for Jurassic World 2.
I have
Evolution
requested
2,
it.
right?
I've requested it. I'm excited about it.
A- As have I, because I saw that. I hadn't seen the game. I was there because I thought it was Elite Dangerous, same publishers. or same developers. And that game looked incredible. It the graphics, the gameplay
Mhm.
just blew me away.
It's still a survival base builder, but I love that
Which
style of game.
I love that.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I do, survival games,
Mhm.
without zombies. If there's a zombie in it, like 7 Days to Die, sorry, not my thing.
I like the post-apocalyptic survival games. So I was playing End Zone at World
Yeah,
Apart.
oh, end zones.
Mhm.
Yes. And you saw the DLC that's coming out, which is also requestable.
I did. I think I've requested it.
Good.
We're gonna have to like just list all of our websites on our revenue generating topic, which I think is 4. We're probably planning an episode 4.
Was it 4 or 5? I can't remember where we
It's somewhere in there in that order.
because equipment is, well,
Next.
equipment is the next one.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about that, equipment and budget. And then, yeah, I guess it is 4 then. And we
Yeah.
were going to talk about that because it comes to the monetization, which we briefly talk here. And yeah, yeah, that's right.
So we covered hobbies, we covered video games, we covered our busy weeks. What do you say we cover main topic? How about talk to me, Goose? I love the
Uh,
forced way of inserting catchphrases and lines into stuff. Um, but we aptly name Garrus had the idea of naming this episode "Talk to Me, Goose" because it's current with the movie, right? Maverick's out, but it really kind of fits all of what we're about to get into. Um, Streaming is no different. I guess we're just gonna jump right in. Streaming's no different
yeah,
than a relationship, a job, um, schooling. It's just like any of those. You get different things out of it. I'm not gonna say one's more important than the other. You know, don't go tell your parents, gamer dad said that streaming's just like having a job, so I'm gonna do that instead of working. Don't tell people that. But it's a lot of the same interactions. And with that is communication, coordination, everything like that. And the biggest thing, whether you're single, whether you're living in a household with multiple roommates, whether you have a partner, kids, strange work hours, whatever it is, you really got to make sure you balance your real life with your stream life. You can't let one overtake the other.
agreed. That balance is so important. And you'll realize when you don't have the balance because it will happen. Guaranteed that it's going to happen. But
Mhm.
when that does occur and you find yourself, I can't do this, I have to do that. If you're not ready for that, the stress that it's going to put on you mentally, because something is being impacted, whether it's work, whether it's home life, or your stream, there is I don't want to say guilt, but there's additional pressure that we put on ourselves because, oh man, I'm not doing this. I
Right.
should be doing this. Why didn't I do this other thing so that I would be ready for this? And that self blame that we do to ourselves, that you don't want to go spiraling down that hole.
Right. And with that balance, if you find yourself spiraling that way with your stream content, and so you and I are both married and have kids, right? So what
Mhm.
if everybody, you see yourself having that forced focus on your stream life, but if you're not giving the same kind of guilt feeling to the other things in your life, it's going to affect your partner, right? If your wife
It is.
sees how stressed you are about I've got to get to the stream, I've got to and then she wants to spend time on an off night, and you're like, I'm not really, if you're not, you can really get dangerously close to making people think that your stream life is more important than them. And unless this is your full-time job where you're making a solid income, I mean, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the hobbyist, the casual streamer. Um, we can talk about this as a work obligation as well, but if you're just the regular streamer who's not on a full-time earning a living off of it kind of thing, your partner, your kids, your work, they are going to get jealous of it because you can really lose yourself in this. When I started streaming, I think I mentioned this on episode 1, I streamed 7 nights a week. Kids would go well, my daughter would go to bed because we didn't have my son at that time. My daughter would go to bed, my wife would go to bed early, and I'd walk down the hall and go into the stream room and start streaming again. And that had its own negative effects because what was I talking about the next day? What happened on stream? All you hear is what happened on stream. I'm tired because I was up too late on stream. You know, it's not good. It's not healthy.
It's also taking time away from your partner, right? Because
Mhm.
now you've had this schedule, you've been with this person for X amount of time, and you're in a cadence, you're in a schedule, right? One person's going to bed, the other one's probably going to bed with them, or 20 minutes later, whatever the schedule is. Now it's one person's going to bed. I'm not going to bed for hours.
Mhm.
And because I'm going to be talking to people you don't know and strangers, and you're not part of it.
Right.
So you have to be able to take that into account, which, and I know we're going to be talking about that communication, which I think actually is our first one, that coordination and communication
Mhm.
that we have, that highly, I mean, it is required. I can't say, oh, it's recommended. No, you have to do this.
Yeah.
If you're at home with your parents, you need to talk to your parents. If you're with a partner, you need to talk to your partner. You need to communicate with that person and let them know what you're doing, what the impact is going to be, and not just, hey, I'm going to be doing this from 8 p.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. Don't bother me. That's not going
Right.
to work.
And
It's a
it's go ahead.
no, no, please.
Yeah, it's really the rules of engagement. You know, your partner has to be at least open to your needs for this, right? If this is your relaxation, if this is a form of monetization, whatever reason you're doing it for, it's going to be very important for them to support what you desire to do. But at the same time, it's just as important you're not going into that conversation saying, "Mom, dad, or your
Mhm.
spouse or partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, I'm going to do this and you will leave me alone." Like, no. It is a back and forth coordination. For example, tonight, um, I have we have a Google Calendar at home. I mean, I don't know how you coordinate your stream schedule with your partner, Garrus, but I have a Google Calendar and we put literally everything on there. I have my D&D nights on there. I have my regular stream schedule on there, and I have specific call outs to the nights that we're recording this live. Why? Because the background noise and distractions make it to the microphone. I don't care if my partner makes noise, is heard laughing, is watching TV while I'm streaming. But in a live recording, I'm just asking for that 1 hour or hour and a half every other week. Just give me enough privacy that the recording doesn't get impacted. So in order to do that, I need to communicate when that is. And we picked the night. You and I had the same kind of balance, right? We had to pick a night that works for you and I. At the same time, you and I picked based on that, we used what works for our partners as well.
Correct. And that was the conversation that, again, has to happen. Find out what works, communicate, talk through it. Don't say it, talk it.
Mhm.
And you'll find, if you have a reason for it in your mind, which I don't want to say come up with a business plan why you want to do it, but have a reason other than, well, I want to play video games. Well, is that a reason to stream? No, but it can lead into it. But
Right.
and by talking to that partner, saying, well, here's why I want to do it. It's going to help me in this way. It's going to help us in this way. They may come back and say, well, what about this? Or, we do this on these days. What do I do? And that's the other thing. It's not a one way
Mhm.
where you just say, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be doing it that way. They may come back and say, well, can I be part of it? Can I do it? Or I'm going to go out on these days, right? It's that give and take and that balance that you have to have. Without that conversation, you're not going to have that and you're not going to be successful.
That's right. And, my wife has asked me if she could join me on some of these. She wanted to do, when I was talking, I've been talking about podcasting for years. She wanted to join me on one. My whole dad mode concept of talking about life as a parent. She's like, I want to be part of that conversation too. So she's
Love it.
willing to be engaged. She comes on to my stream. We have some rules as to when it is and isn't appropriate and what she does and doesn't come on to stream for. Um, you know, I don't find it fair or appropriate to take my individual time to talk about future schedules for other things that we could talk about before stream, after stream, stuff like that.
Sometimes you wanna go where
The
everybody.
other aspect of we focused a lot on the partner, but we both have children. Mine are older, but they still want dad time or they still
Mhm,
want to talk to dad. Yours are younger and they still want dad and
mhm.
want to talk to dad.
Sure.
So it's harder, especially with the younger ones, and you can talk about that for them to understand when I am in this area and the door is closed or the curtain is drawn, whatever it may be. It's hard for them to understand, don't come in. And
Mhm.
and I'm going to turn that over to you because you are most definitely l- working with that.
Well, I can show you since you and I are on a video feed. I've got a neckband headset.
Mhm.
One of those that goes over your shoulder, it's got the earbuds. Where and so the rule, like, direct quote to my daughter, "When daddy has the earbuds in his ear, he's on a phone call." That's how my work day goes, right? Because I work from home. I'm in the same room she is. So when I have those earbuds in, she knows I'm on a phone call for work. And it's very similar. I've got an earbud that I'm in now listening to you. Um, if I've got that in, it means I'm in the middle of a conversation with somebody. And my wife has actually gotten into that same rule too. She'll come upstairs um, during a stream time, and I can see her over the monitor. She doesn't actively start calling me out or start talking or anything like that. I'll look over at her, much like you do
Mhm.
when your partner comes in your room in your stream. I'll look over, and I'll do like the one finger up, like hold on a minute, if I need her to wait a second, or in other times I'll just pause, and
Yeah.
it's easy that way.
And honestly, your audience will understand that. They know that things are going to happen,
Mhm,
right? We're not all locked in a cubicle here, focused and just going to talk to them and ignore everything that happens around us. We all have lives. And I
mhm,
think, you talked about this in the last episode. Your name right there says a lot about what you are. Gamer dad covers
mhm.
both of them. There's no ambiguity on that. On mine, I'm an old man. I'm very clear. I have children. I have wife. I have pets.
That's right.
It's part of the stream.
Right.
So
Now
I will
now
be like, hey, hold
yeah.
on a minute, pause it, walk away, come back, continue.
Yeah. And I'm in a very, interesting situation because of my family life. I only have the opportunity to do my hobby and gaming things at night. Well, I could do them at other times during the evening, but I selfishly wanna have that extra time with my daughter, right? I don't wanna rush through dinner so I can go run upstairs and start stream while you're getting ready for bath. I 100% support other people who prefer to do it that way, and I have no negative thoughts. If that's the routine and the schedule and the family dynamic you have in place, that's one thing. I want to sit down and watch we watch the judge shows. So we used to watch Judge Judy, and
Mm.
there's another one on here called Judge Faith. So we watch those. My daughter and I love watching through them, or we'll watch whatever episode I'm watching on Disney Plus of a Marvel or Star Wars movie, show, something. So I like just being lazy, sitting on the couch after dinner watching another episode of those and then waiting for her to go do bath time and bedtime. I don't carry her to bed anymore, but I still like going in there, tucking her in, saying goodnight. And I feel like I would be separated from that if I was streaming. And it's okay if I did that. right? If it's okay if I streamed and she just came up and said goodnight and went to bed, that's totally reasonable. But I just have my preferences. So if my daughter ever comes up here while I'm streaming, I'm immediately stopping because she's not supposed to be up here. So she's only up here if there's a problem, if she has a need or something like that. And you're right, it is the namesake. You know, my motto on my account is game hard, dad harder. And not a single person has ever had a problem. If I'm like, my daughter is not supposed to be out of bed, she is up here, so there's a problem, and I need to go help her address that problem. I've I've threatened to ban people if they're going to criticize that. Like you're not welcome here if you cannot accept that my 5-year-old is more important than you as the viewer. That's just the way it is.
And I'll collaborate that or corroborate, I should say that because we had this yesterday when you and I were speaking. We both were like, "When are you available?" You were putting your daughter to bed or getting her ready for bed. That was
Mhm.
your time. We're like, "Okay, we'll meet afterwards. Just let me know." Right? It's that give and take that has to happen.
That's right.
We're focused on the family side, but work is the same thing.
Mhm.
When we look at the work schedule, we're spending usually about we're supposed to spend about 9 hours a day on work, right? 8 hours, your breaks, your
Mm,
lunch break. When working from home due to COVID kicked in, of course, it's well, now you can work 10 hours, 11 hours a day because there's no travel. You don't need to go anywhere for meals. And that became the expectation and the accepted practice.
right.
So setting those boundaries between that, where it's like, hey, most of the days I end at, I hate to say 7 p.m., 7 p.m., and then I'm going to spend time with the family, a couple of hours, if it's a stream night before I get ready for stream.
Right.
For you, you were able to go to the office. The impact, and here's what I wanted to talk about the impact of work now saying, hey, we need you in for what, 2 or 3 days? You had to come in.
Mhm.
It wasn't so much for Hypermom because, Hypermom has been through this in the past where you're at the office. But now you have your children who they've been used to you the majority of their life. One of them his entire life, but your daughter almost half of her life of you being home 24/7 and now you're gone. So how have you been with balancing that?
Well, I've been working from home. So I my work I was the one who went into the office more than anybody else on my team, including the head of my organization, right? COVID shut us down, sent us home, and worked from home for the last 2 years. They reopened the office and said, "You've got 3 options because we've proven we can work from home. We've proven we can work remote. I've worked from my couch before, and I've been just as effective." So they gave us the option to either go fully remote, remove our access to the offices, go hybrid, where we're required to keep up any of our office policies in place. So right now there's a vaccination policy. I have to keep up with that in order to retain my office access. I lose my
Mhm.
desk, right? If I go hybrid, I don't have a designated desk anymore. I have to book the use of a desk. So when I'm coming into the office, I'll just designate a desk or office that I'm going to use that will be reserved for me, and I'll go about my business. Or I can go office based and stay office based. The requirement was you have to average 3 days a week on premises to do that. And we've encouraged all of our business teams to work on engaging IT for face to face matters between the days of Tuesday through Thursday. So we would like you to focus at least Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in the office if you're going to stay office based. So it was super easy for us. I talked to my wife about it and I said, honestly, I want to go into the office. Um, I'll go Tuesday through Thursday. We'll try it out, see how it goes for the family. For me, having the 3 monitors, a private desk space, dedicated focus, I can get a lot done, and I can walk down the hall and grab somebody if I need them. Well, I got in there, and I was the only person on my floor. Well, I mean, there were other people, but from any organization that I actually interacted with, I had to go call them or IM them because 'cause they're still at home. So I got to thinking, I'm getting up, getting dressed, getting up, driving up to work, working all day in the office, on the phone with people, and then driving home. Well, I don't know about you, but if it takes me that long to drive into the office, I can start my work that much earlier if I don't drive in. And if I'm running behind for the day, I can work that much later. So if I leave at 8:30 in the morning to get to the office, I can be online by 8:30 because I'm ready to go for work. That's 30 minutes there that I gain back. And if I'm normally leaving at 5, I'm not home till 5:30, 5:45. Well, if I run into an emergency with work, I've got till 5:30, 5:45 where I'm not stressing that my family's now waiting on me. So that's extra time I could have worked. So I went back to working from home. I mean, just no point. And streaming's no different. You know what I mean? You try it out, you see what's going to work. And you make sure that you're not overburdening yourself with work, right? Why put that extra stress on my family? Why put that extra stress on my wife, who again can perfectly handle? She's a very strong person. She can handle the two kids on her own. But should I expect her to if I have the option to be present? I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair to be like, well, I'm going to go into the office and you're all on your own. No one else is in the office with me. There was zero benefit to me being in the office on a regular basis. So we changed.
So, and you said this a couple of times. I want to make sure we call it out. Just like we talked about having a communication with your partner regarding your stream, the same goes with work.
Mhm,
Have a communication with your partner about work. That balance has to be there. You're looking at three different parts. I hate to use the pie analogy, but three different parts of a pie. And
mhm,
they should balance out as much as possible. If they don't, the one that should take the hit, unless your streaming is a full-time job and it's your primary way of having income, work and life takes the bigger parts,
right,
right? That
right.
should be the largest parts. Those two should be in balance, and your streaming presence, again, unless this is your primary source for income, should be smaller than the other two.
That's right. And let's dig into a little bit more about how your stream life can be balanced with those because you're going to work, you're going to have a family, friends, partners, loved ones, right? They're they need to be appropriately prioritized. But your stream, what can we do about that? Because I think you and I have plenty of opinions on family dynamics and work dynamics. Both of us overwork too much and are always open and available for our families. That's our dynamic. But with the stream, it's very important, just like with a new relationship, just like with a new job. You don't want to be the creepy, clingy guy or girl when you first start a relationship. You're always, call me today, call me later today. Make sure you call me when you get it. You're not on the phone with them every 5 minutes. You're not always talking to them, about them, looking for them, trying to be over at their place. You're going to take it easy, right? You got to ease your way into it. Streaming's no different. And and you and I have both made those mistakes.
We have. It's called setting limits
Mm,
to the streaming world, and I'm gonna pick on Twitch because I stream on Twitch. That is my big thing. Having those limits in place before you go live is gonna help reduce the stress. You've already had the communication with your partner, right? We've talked about that, and you've should have work and home life balance. So now that you're bringing in this third part of it,
mhm.
think of it, it's another relationship that you're bringing into your life because you're building that relationship with an audience. There's stress in that.
Yep.
Knowing and having an approach to that is critical to succeed. When I first started, I didn't have that.
No.
And we talked a little bit about this in episode 0.
Uh,
Uh,
I
I had a schedule in mind.
Yep.
You know where I'm going with it.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna call you out because you absolutely called me out on this. I had a schedule in mind. I was going to stream 6 days a week. I had spoken to my wife and my kids. We agreed it was going to be from 8 o'clock until midnight, so a 4 hour stream, 6 days a week. Uh, Midnight would come around, and instead of me starting to shut down, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, hey, let's do this one more thing in Stardew," or "Hey, we're in no man's. Let's go to another planet. Just one more thing."
Mm-mm.
And then just one more thing. Or, oh, wait, this happened. Let me go through that and get that done. And it would be 1 o'clock in the morning. It would be 2 o'clock in the morning. And like Gamer Dad said, the schedule for work doesn't change. If your day
Mm-mm.
starts at 8:30, you need to be alert and working. If your day starts at 7:30, which is mine, I had to do that. And there were times where actually, you know what, Gamer Dad? I'm going to let you tell the story because this is a perfect example early on of something that doesn't work.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So, um, with a newborn, I would fall asleep all the time. So I would come into Garrus's channel. I would chat with him about the games he's playing, just be a part of the community. And then I'd go sit on the couch to relax and unwind. I'd fall asleep on the couch because I don't know if Garrus, did you know that children are very tiring? Did you know that?
What?
They cry
What?
a lot. They wake up in the middle of the night, they interrupt your sleep. Did you know that?
No, I've never heard of that. None of my three children have ever done that.
So I'm an all out, like, pedal to the metal kind of dude, right? From when I wake up to the moment I stop for the night, I'm nonstop. I'm wide open. So when I sometimes stop, it's when I'm on the couch. So I'll just fall asleep on the couch. I've eaten dinner, had the plate on my little TV tray, put my head back, and my wife is like, "Wake up, honey, wake up," and my daughter's like, "Is it time for dessert, Daddy?" So I just fall asleep anytime. So I would doze off on the couch at night, and when my wife would come upstairs to wake me up to bring me to bed, I'd go turn off the computer because my stream lights are still on, the computer monitor is still on. I'll come over here and I'm like, "What? What am I looking at? What is this guy doing? Garrus, go to bed." We're in the same time zone. And my wife's waking me up at 2 or 3 in the morning, telling me to go to bed. And he starts work earlier than I do because you have meetings with a lot of your India teams and everything. I'm like, there's no way.
Mm.
So I had this rule with my daughter, and I'm going to give this same rule to you, the streamer, right? Anybody listening out there, here's my advice. When my daughter is up in the office while I'm trying to work and she's preventing me from doing my work, I lose out on trying to catch up later. So let's pretend my daughter and her unintentional interruption of my workday is like my stream interrupting my family life and my sleep. So if I'm streaming too long, if my daughter is taking too much away from work, I have to catch up in the evenings, which means I have to make up for that time later. Or I can't be present for this at all and I have to go back into the office if I'm not able to work. So my daughter has learned that even though I'm home, I still have to focus on my job and my family first, right? If I can't do that, we have to find other ways around it. So that means for a stream, right? This is a stretch, but I promise we're landing this plane. This Your stream is the same thing. If you're going to allow your stream to interrupt and get out of control, it's going to take away from your work. And then you're going to be working later because you're falling behind and catching up. You're not going to have as much time with your family, so your streams are going to be you're going to have less focus on your streams because you're going to be stressed that you've taken away from your family. So when you build up your stream too long and you jump in too deep, you're going to take away the balance from everything else. And you will eventually lose your stream because I guarantee you your partner and your job will never say, "Oh, it's fine, go do your stream stuff." No. Those will always be first. So, if you're following your streams, following your schedule, and ending on time, starting on time, you'll be able to have a much more carefree balance.
But having that schedule and sticking to it doesn't always work.
It doesn't. And how do
I
you handle that?
Right. You will have look, you're doing this from home, right? We're not at
Yeah.
the office. We're not locked into our little wherever we sit when we're at work. You're at where you live, and there
Mhm.
are people that live there with you. Interruptions are going to happen. Your children, your partner are going to come to you. Your pet is going to come and say, "I need something from you." I don't care if you're streaming. So being able to work with that and manage it is also very, very important.
Mhm.
For my side, my wife works until 10 o'clock at night. When I am streaming, that's in the middle of my stream. So when she gets home around 10:30, that's when I go to intermission, and that's a variable. It's anywhere from 10:15 to 10:45, depending on when she gets home. So at that point, I'm like, "Hey," and I say it on stream. My wife just got home. I need to step away for a bit. Here you go. Put it on there, walk away, spend time with her, greet her,
Yep.
ask how the day was, all of that conversation. When the kids come in or my pets, pause, talk about it.
Mhm.
Let your stream know because it's, again, life. Life interrupts. You cannot plan for everything.
Yep. And, since we record this on a Saturday night, that's a benefit because right now my wife is actually probably catching up on some, social media, watching some videos, relaxing in bed, knowing I'm up here recording. She's probably waiting until there's an indication that I'm done before she comes up here, and she's staying up later because on my normal stream night, whenever it's time for bed, whether I'm streaming or not, hang on, guys. I'm gonna go say goodnight to Hypermom, and I'll get up and I'll walk away.
Mhm.
Right? So the interruptions, your family and your work life and all that, they're gonna happen. If you're open and transparent with your stream, like, look, guys, my wife still exists, whether I'm live or not, right? And you guys can be a part of the family or you don't have to. But I'm going to get up and excuse myself to go say goodnight to her. Um, you're going to greet your wife. And for those of you watching the video, I mean, when I look over here, she's probably up here trying to wave at me or something. Or when Garrus looks over, um, similarly to his right, I think, you're probably looking out the door
Yeah,
of your office, acknowledging your wife. It just happens. I
right.
mean,
And that's exactly it. So,
mhm,
of those watching it, my wife just got home a few minutes ago. You saw me turn my head this way.
mhm,
That's exactly what happened. Good call. You've also seen me do it two other
tons of
times
times, yeah.
because my children came in and they needed something,
Mhm.
and it's part of what
Right.
happens.
And
Expect it.
and this wasn't staged. I mean, 100%
No,
wasn't staged.
no.
But the only and I know that people listening to this are listening probably to the audio feed, right? Nobody's seen on the audio feed the cat on the back of the desk in Garrus's office. Nobody's seen me leaning over to pick up something that I dropped on the floor. Nobody can see that. But you haven't noticed it. Nobody noticed Garrus miss a beat on any of our conversation. And that's because we're balancing this very well. One, and we have an amazing editor, but we're balancing this very well to where we've learned to include our family and roll with those interruptions. And you have to do the same. Now, I want to pull one note aside here, though. We're talking about the average Joe streamer. We're not talking about, well, I'm not going to name anybody in particular, but we're not talking about your partnered Twitch streamers who make this a monetized daily job. We're not talking about somebody who has a studio where they go off site or go into their basement that they've built out. That's a different situation, a very important situation. And those ground rules are even more important. When dad closes the door to his studio and he's working, he's on the clock. Right? I'm thinking of one streamer I know in particular who welcomes his family into the room, but then at the same time, this is a place of business, and they've set a very reasonable, respectful boundary with the family. And it's just important either way. But a lot of what we're talking about is welcome your family and be open with your interruptions. That's for somebody who's just doing this for fun, maybe a few extra bucks on the side. If you're treating this like a business, if you're treating this like a full-time job, you need to treat this the same way that Garrus and I talk about our work schedules, right? We have if I'm working from 8 to 5, you need to treat me as if I'm at work from 8 to 5. Just happens to be my work as content creation during those times.
Agreed. And, I think I know the streamer that you were talking
Mhm.
about because they took that family and the importance of that, they made it part of their stream.
And I love it.
So that and though exactly, it's fantastic because we, the people who are there with that person, are part of that audience. So
Mhm.
when the family comes in to say goodnight,
Exactly, and I
chat,
love doing that.
chat. What do we do in chat? All of us are like, hey, say goodnight, right? We're all part of that
Mhm.
experience.
They get on the
And it's
microphone,
very
the
it
kid gets
is
on the microphone,
very
everything.
locked down too, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
it's exactly you're going to be there for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
We're all part of that.
Now, conversely, there's other streamers who have partners, have kids, who they have a a clear boundary where they don't bring them in. Now,
Mm.
that's fine too. Doesn't make you a bad person to say that I don't want the internet seeing my 3-year-old child on a camera. I respect that. I'm not comfortable having my daughter come up all the time on camera. She's 5. So it's fine. But the summary here is boundaries. Make sure that if you are available for those interruptions and how you manage those. I don't think I've ever seen your wife on stream, Garrus. I don't think I ever have, but
Yeah.
you have some clear, respectful setups with her and your kids for how they will be able to interrupt you, and your community supports your need to support your family. And I have similar things, but they might hear my wife watch something really funny and laughing really loud. Fine. We're all gonna we'll all just get in on the joke with it. She'll come over. Um, the emote, my hypermom hype emote, is an actual picture of my wife turned into a silhouette and converted of her flexing because she used to come over to the camera and flex on camera. There's
Yeah.
even a clip. Um, and since I'm the video editor, I might have to go find this clip and see if I can use it. There's even a clip of her, and my camera fell off the monitor on the perfect timing because my desk was shaking and so she flexed and made a loud growling grunt from flexing. And then you just see this, the camera just fall back, and it's perfect. If I remember, I'm actually going to put that into the video podcast closeout when we say goodbye. It's just going to be that and the camera falling away. I got to remember to do that. But
It's already in the notes.
yeah, so your pre-stream interruptions are a thing, right? What happens if you're
Mhm.
running behind from work? Do you start your stream still? It's you start at 8 o'clock. You worked late. You had a late dinner with your wife. You're rushing up the stairs. It's 8:15. Are you still going to stream, Garrus? It's like a direct question to you.
Right. No, absolutely not.
For,
I may do it later,
Mhm.
but if I'm still at dinner with my wife or work is still there, I'm going to send out a note and not stream.
Right,
It's that balance again.
right.
Yesterday, perfect example. I wish I could have work and same with you. We were both very busy with our
Mhm.
jobs. We had to inform the communities, hey, sorry, we're running really late because of work. It's not going to happen.
So, and I'm the
That
kind of
communication.
I'm the kind of person of better late than never for your stream schedule,
Mhm,
right? But
mhm.
if you ever feel off, right? If I had a very busy yesterday's a great example for you. Let's say Wednesday, I had my first stream on my Wednesday night schedule. I was in the office, came home. I didn't even take out food from the freezer to thaw. So I picked up takeout on the way home, and my daughter went to bed late. I was just running all over the place. I didn't start till probably closer to 9:30 because I didn't want to come rushing up the stairs at 8:59, load up and get started and just be all out of sorts. You gotta take a
Mhm.
minute, take a beat. It's okay to start late. Don't make it a habit, because you can get your routine in place. But better late than never. If you're going to be late, use your community, wherever you coordinate with your community, let them know. Be careful with your tags if you're doing stuff like Discord. Um, if you're in other communities where they don't like tags, just be aware of that. But in general, let people know, you know? Um, midstream, I got a baby monitor. I can see it right there. I hear that monitor, timeout, I'm out of here. Your wife comes home, timeout. Sorry guys. Right? And the same thing goes with the overall schedule, right? It's okay to lose a stream. Are you at all stressed or bothered by the? I mean, you're bummed that you missed yesterday because it's self care, it's therapeutic. But
Mhm.
are you over it already?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Once you send out that notification and you post it, whether it's on Discord or Twitter or however you communicate with your audience, and let them know, you've done your part,
Hmm.
right? You can get next time you get on stream, you could talk about it if you want to. You don't need to, but you move on past that.
Hmm. And a lot more goes into this than the go live button,
Mm.
right? I mean, we record every 2 weeks for one very good reason. We are busy as hell. How long how long did it take us to finalize the agenda? How many days between streams did it take till the agenda was finalized?
Yeah,
We we
and
we
that's
record
normal.
14 days apart. So how many days until the schedule was done? The agenda.
Um, Considering we're still editing it, or we were right when we started our stream,
Yeah,
so 14 days.
right. Now it doesn't mean we're working on it every minute of those 2 weeks. But this podcast records every 2 weeks for one very good reason. We know our capabilities. And we also know how much time goes into this content when we're not actually live. I stream 3 nights a week for 3 hours a stream. I do not only put 9 hours a week into my stream content. I would say I double that between on and offline. So,
And but you do more than that
yeah.
because it's not just and prep is one thing,
Mhm.
and we're going to dig a little bit into that, but it's also you're building a community. You
Mhm.
should be working on building that community. Let's start with prep though. So, Gamer Dad, you have a way of doing prep and getting ready. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or how much time it takes you for that?
So a single stream, I have a slightly different. I could be ready in 5 minutes to start a single stream. I don't have an event schedule for each episode, if you will, but
Mm.
I do spend a lot of hobby time prepping for stream content. So when I'm not streaming, if I'm working on the hobby, a lot of that focus is on whatever I need to prep to have ready for stream. So I have to find a very unique balance between how much, if I want to work on my own personal hobby and I'm not going to be streaming that content because I've got a commission to do, I have to balance that because I'm not going to spend an extra 1 or 2 nights a week hobbying on my stuff and then hobbying on stream stuff, right? So all my prep is physical work on models. That's most of it. I have some visual, like some graphic setups. It's all Photoshop templates. Everything is a template PSD, and I just go to the specific layers and modify those layers to include a different graphic, include a different date and time. Like the episode 2 graphics, 5 minutes of setup because we paid an artist to build our templates so that all I have to do is modify them. You know, the new overlays for the video part of this podcast, that was a few hours. But it's it's very unique for me because I listen to the baby monitor every afternoon, especially on the weekends, while my wife naps. She takes a nap in the afternoon just like the kids do. That's when I do my work, right? Those kids are sleeping, I'm working. That's my scheduled availability.
Yeah.
That only adds a specific amount of time for me, so I got to make the most of it.
Yeah, and that's the important part, taking the time that's available for you to
Mhm.
do your prep for it.
Right.
Mine's a little bit different because one, I stream 6 days a week, and mine isn't so much on the hobby side. It's more video games and PC and console. So my prep, it happens every single day. And there are two things that I do. One is any new game. So I spend a lot of time, about an hour and a half to 2 hours every day on prep, which considering my first meeting is at 7:30 in the morning on most days. And at the end of my workday, I spend about 2 hours with my family before I go into stream. So that means that when I end a stream, it's not, oh, stream's over, bed. There's some time there. There's some time during the day when normally people are at lunch. I'm online working, getting ready. And then a few minutes right before we go live.
Yep.
What new games are coming out? What's happening? What's happening in the world? Not the world like the world news, but in the world of video games that we're playing. Right? Because we're here to kind of get away from that and talk to the people that want to get away from that. You have to be ready for that. You have to have topics. Don't go in blind with, oh, well, I'm going to play this game and we're just going to talk about this game. That that's okay, but you should have some other material to talk about, some variety in there. Otherwise, you can only talk about the same game so long before you run out of it, out of material about it. And then you start complaining about it. So having that prep in place is important.
Yeah.
Having notes, having a calendar. I walk around, I have my stream calendar right here that has everything listed on for the entire month. I can tell you when the D&D nights are happening. I can tell you the podcast recordings. I can tell you what games I'm playing. They're all right here. And then my news is over here on a whiteboard.
Right.
So that's have that ready. It's going to help you because it's relieving some of that stress.
And what I would say about that is, you have found a good routine to allow for yourself to not overload your personal life by having 6 nights a week of stream. Because you're putting a lot of time into prepping for
Mm.
each and every stream. You actually remind me of another streamer that I know that used to stream every weekday in the mornings, and he would have a notebook, some news, lots of conversation. He had a whole routine. He would make sure that his all of his games were updated the morning before he went live, everything like that. So it was a very good routine. Um, and the better your routine is, the more prepared you'll be for every stream. But some other people are going to have to really consider a reduced number of days. Um, that's not a schedule I would be able to keep up with. That doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong. Um, But when you hear us talk about exact examples of how we specifically do things, when I tell you I can get ready to stream in 5 minutes, I've been doing this for nearly 5 years. I have a perfect routine. I've got a remote control to turn on all of my lights. They're all synced together to the same brightness. I've got an application to load. I've simplified the use of my bots so I'm not turning them all on anymore. I've got all of my gear already ready to go. And most of it is just turning on my painting camera and OBS, and turning on the lights and getting ready to go. I've also stepped back a lot of my social media posting. It used to take me 20, 30 minutes to go live, and that includes pre setup, hitting the start streaming button, and then all of my social media posting to say I am live. I've backed a lot of that off because it's overwhelming me. It's very helpful though. You get a lot more people by doing that, but I've had to back it off. So you really want to make sure that just because you hear Garrus say he spends this many hours a day, or say I spend this many minutes getting ready, there's no one formula. We're just showing you examples of how we have found things that work for us. The number of days we stream, the number of hours we stream for, all it all comes together with your balance of your life.
And that goes back to that overall schedule that we were talking about
Mhm.
and the communication, because you are going to take time to prep. How much depends on how long you've been doing it, what you want to talk about, or what you want to engage your audience with. You don't need to spend the 2 hours a day that I spent prepping for it and going over and lining things up. That's me. That's just how I do it. Find what works for you. If you're just going to start your stream, talk for 5 minutes, and then start playing a game, great. All you need to really think about is here's a couple of topics during the stream if it comes up, and pay attention to chat.
Mhm.
So that's the important part, paying attention to chat because they're going to help you keep going. Now, here's where it gets tough because we've talked about schedules and prep.
Mhm.
There's something that happens that there is no way you can prepare for. Absolutely zero ways to prepare except for having the experience. And that's when you're streaming on Twitch. I don't think this happens on YouTube, but you're streaming on Twitch and you get a notification of an inbound raid
Mhm.
where another streamer is coming into your stream and bringing their friends, their audience into your area, into whatever you're streaming and talking about. They're now part of your audience. You can't plan for that
Nope.
other than, again, with experience and maybe saying, hey, when this happens, here's how I acknowledge them. Always acknowledge them and what you're going to do. Now, I have a perfect example of something that happened to me, but Gamer Dad, I want to
Hmm.
bring you in on this one because I know you get a lot of raids, and I think we both do this. We both raid outward at
Yep.
the end of our streams.
So I will say a good rule of thumb is, right? You never want to be when you're being rated, you never want to be closed off to it. Now I know some people who feel socially overwhelmed by raids and they have it disabled. Um, but in my mind, a lot of my stream time goes into the setup and breakdown, especially because I paint. I got to clean paint brushes. I got to clean my hands. I got to clean up the surface, everything like that. So when I get rated at the end of the stream, you're taking away from my bedtime because I don't mean to sound ungrateful. That I promise this will actually get nicer. But when you stream at the end of the night, I don't feel that I owe you time. I owe you the attention and the appreciation. You deserve that. Let's hang out. Let's chat. But I've heard people like, oh, so and so rated. I guess we got to go another 30 minutes. We were getting ready to end, but we'll give you another. No, I'm sorry, guys. You can't. Well, I guess you can if you've got the time available. But this is when I end stream, I get a snack and I go to bed. So I can't lose bedtime because I got work.
Mm.
So you got to find out the right way to balance it, and your raiders will understand. The streamer likely knows you and will understand your schedule, but you just gotta make sure that that pressure you feel, that push, you just gotta communicate with them. Hey guys, we're getting ready to wrap up in 5 minutes. We'll go for another maybe 10, 15 more, but I really got to get up in the morning for work. So let's hang out. Let's talk about what your stream was like. Let's chat what'd you do? What'd you play? What'd you paint? What were you guys hanging out talking about? Let's chat about that and then wrap it up and say, all right, guys, look, I appreciate it. Thank you for the raid. Let's send you off somewhere else. Um, I know it sounds mean, like tough guys, you're here, I'm going to bed. That's not what it's about if you handle it appropriately. But don't let a raid push you into doing something that's going to break your balance. They'll understand.
It will. Now, Gamer Dad, you gave an example of when I had a or a long stream where
Yeah.
you went to bed and you woke up 3 hours later and I was still streaming. And I remember that because that was a 13 and a half hour stream. I had started early and I ended at 5:30 in the morning, 2 hours before my workday. And here's why. Again, early days, early days. So take this as a lesson learned. I was playing a game. It's I'm not going to say it. It was a game that I haven't touched for years, and I was starting it brand new. I got rated, blind rated by a streamer who brought in over 600 people into my stream. I had probably around 15 people in my stream. Over
Mhm.
600 people came in. Out of this 600, now we know a lot of people lurk. Uh, I want to say I think it was around 30 or 40 of them were active chatters. And I felt obligated. to stay on for those people.
Yeah.
And here's what happened. So I stayed on and I did the, "Hey, wow, thank you for the rate." I acknowledge it. And I'm like, we're gonna stay on. We're gonna go for about another hour."
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, it's so large." Playing, talking with chat, playing. Another raid happened. Much smaller. It was in just over 100 people because now I was in row 1 on Twitch, and we know how Twitch works, right?
Yep.
The higher you are, it's price ordered, you're on there. I'm up on row, and it says new player restarting from scratch in this game. 100, low 100 people came in. I had to keep going. I felt obligated. Another raid came in. 3 raids that same night came in. At the end of the day, my viewer count, which means nothing other than here's how many people total have been in your channel, lurking or not, or bots, are in there. I was close to 900.
And by that time
Was
of
it
night,
worth
it's
it?
likely they're all lurking from the previous streams too.
They were.
Yeah.
They were. Chat was pretty slow. Um, and I felt the pressure of continuing on. I broke my own schedule. And
Mhm.
again, early on, I broke my schedule. I felt the pressure to do this. And really, because I was early on in my learning how to stream, all I could think of is, wow, this is going to help me go to affiliate because that's the first status inside of Twitch, right? And maybe I can, if I get that, then I can get subs and I get money to pay for some of the games that I'm playing. And you start thinking about that. And
Yeah.
now that becomes your focus because it's now like the quicker I get to affiliate, the quicker I can charge and make money, and then I can get partner. And that stress and the move towards that. I know, Gamer Dad, you talked about this last episode on the follow to follows and the Reddits and what to look forward and what to avoid when you're building your community. But a lot of that comes in from that. You want the raids because you want new eyes on you, but at the same time, you have to look at your schedule and know, hey, this is my limit.
Yeah.
I've said I'm going to stop here. I need to stop.
Yeah. No, and I'm not saying every single day have that hard and fast rule. Um, you
Hmm.
have networking opportunities, but I really think your numbers are less important than your health, and all of this about the communication and coordination is really about managing all of these stressors, right? Because you're still going to have to do things to get ready for stream and shut down the stream. And I think every single raider that comes in is going to understand. They're going to really, they're going to work with you and they're going to want to come back if they respect where you're coming from with your needs and they get a good appreciation for your self-care. I think they'll come back because whether they see 5 minutes or 5 hours of your content, they're going to enjoy that. And the same thing goes with the pressure you put on yourself to monetize and gain that affiliate status or gain the elusive partner status on Twitch, for example. You know, you can't, and again, this is for the average Joe streamer, not the person making this a full-time gig. You can't make that the focus and still be a healthy, happy streamer. It's always in the back of our minds. Don't get me wrong. I've been streaming for 5 years and I would love that check mark. I want to get there one day. Am I doing things beyond my means to get me there? No. No. There's the partner push, there's the push for affiliate, there's all these other things in there from peer pressure from your viewership and everything. You just got to be careful. You find Twitch affiliate status is relatively easy, but it's timed. It requires a specific number of streams within a specific timeline. It requires a specific number of viewers, and it requires a specific number of hours. You can get to 50 follows in a reasonable amount of time with networking, which we'll cover in a future episode. You can get to affiliate by streaming, I don't remember how many hours, but you need an average of 3 viewers. That's
Yeah, the
one of the
average is what most
three.
people get
Yeah.
stuck with. Yes.
Yeah, 3 viewers over the course of 30 days. And again, networking will get you there because if when I'm sure I did this once or twice with you, Garrus. If I know one of my community members, and this is not a follow for follow concept, this is networking. If I know Garrus just started streaming and he's got a topic that would interest my community,
Well,
we'll go over there every once in a while. We'll put him on blast, shout him out in our Discord, stuff like that. Garrus is live. Go check it out. You know, and all it takes is one person here and there jumping in, and you'll get to the affiliate status. It's really easy. I don't want to say it's really easy, but it's pretty straightforward to do. So take your time, take a breath, enjoy the ride, and don't be the creepy, clingy guy in the start of a relationship where you're calling your girl 5 times a day to ask her how she's doing and she's going to run away because you're too clingy. That's Twitch. That's the perfect description of every new streamer on Twitch. And, speaking of the real life balance, right? I can hear my wife laughing at this in the background because she knows how accurate this is, because she remembers me streaming 7 nights a week. She remembers and I'm going to be completely transparent. She remembers the arguments we had about all I would talk about is Twitch this, Twitch that, viewers this. And she's like, "Who are these people? Why aren't we spending time together?" It, like, full circle. The whole topic comes back together. You gotta talk about it. You gotta balance it. And I've just gone on a whole soapbox, Garrus. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay because that's really, really important. And that last point that you just made, though, who are these people? There's an implied question there, which is why are you spending more time with them than the time that we had before? So you're negatively
Yes.
impacting that relationship.
Hmm.
And again, that comes to bullet number one that we talked about, right? Having that communication, balancing all of these together. There are a lot of things that will kick in, and the pressure once you make a decision to stream on Twitch, the pressure to get that affiliate
Hmm.
is massive. Once you start looking at social media and trying to expand and grow, all you're going to see are have to get there immediately. You can monetize, have to get there immediately. You can make money. You can take the time. This is the time for you to learn, for
Hmm.
you to get your software up and running. We talk about software later on, your hardware set up correctly. We talk about that in another future, right? This is your chance to slowly learn and grow. Things
Pre
in life, again, are going to kick in.
That's right.
Dogs.
Pre
They,
affiliate
yeah,
status, dress rehearsal. Okay.
yeah.
Because
And
just
honestly,
yeah, think about it.
no, go ahead.
If you really kind of build upon it, Twitch affiliate status only gives you the ability to monetize. It does not guarantee it. Being on Twitch also does not guarantee viewership. It only gives the opportunity. And we're going to break that down. I know it was a topic we had for tonight, but I really feel like with where this conversation's going, we're going to want to unpack that a whole lot more about viewership, getting people to watch you. But the real question is, what if nobody watches me? You and I were recording a podcast live on Twitch. We have viewers in here watching us. We're not we're not talking to them directly right now. We're monitoring chat, of course, but you know, this right now, you and I recording a live podcast is our interaction out of chat is what it feels like when no one watches you. We're still talking, we're still producing, we're still carrying it on. The key is stream like there's a million people there, even if there's nobody there, and vice versa. If you've got those 900 people, stream like you do when you have 15, 25, 30 people, your average night. You've got to be you no matter what you do, whether someone comes in or not, because someone's going to come in. Someone's going to see your content and they're going to appreciate you for you. If somebody comes in and finds you doing something that's out of your character, that's all they're there for. That's what they've learned about you, and that's going to be who they're expecting. So when they come back another time and don't see you being yourself anymore, they see the real you instead of what they were introduced to. You're going to lose them. So your engagement,
Yeah.
getting people to watch you, it's all about networking, which I really think when we talk about hardware, software, we would need to move into networking and revenue after that. That's where you really want to get into. Sure, now no one's watching me, but how do we build into a viewership?
Mhm. And that's why those early days, just practice. Think of it as practice. That's all you're doing. Get comfortable in front of the camera. Get comfortable in front of a microphone. Don't look at your viewer count. Just have a chat window open in case somebody is in there. They might be lurking. You don't know. Have your chat window open, play your game, and talk. That's it. You'll get better at it. Your audience will grow. Do not stress over it. You'll hear people say, "Oh, I made affiliate in 1 week." I've seen these. I've made it in 3 days. I made affiliate with that and partner within 3 months. Great. That worked for you.
Mhm.
There's about 10,000 other people who tried it, didn't work for. There is something in how you do it that makes you special. Be that person. Use your skills, your ability, your communication, all of that as part of, I don't want to say persona, but, and we do talk about personas in a future episode, but let that be part of what you're going to build into and be comfortable with it. If you're going to be comfortable wearing a one piece and you look like an animal, that's you. And if it works for you, then do it. If you want to just be yourself in front of it, then just do it. It just takes practice and getting comfortable with it.
Yep, that's right. So I really think, I mean, this agenda took a bit of a turn on us with the direction we went, but I really feel like just understanding really where your stream comes from. If you don't have, this is the foundation. Your viewership is not your foundation. Viewers are very important. Let's not disregard them whatsoever. But your viewership number is not the foundation of a successful stream community. It's the foundation of a successful individual stream produced. But it comes back to the title of the stream. Talk to me. Well, in this case, talk to me, Goose, right? Because I love that movie so much. But if you really, if you've seen either of the movies, you understand what that phrase means. You're thinking into your inner self and really like what, I mean, what would the most important person in this topic, either your partner, your work, whatever, what do they have to say about this? What is their advice? What do they need from me? It's no longer about you. And it's so important to just build your foundation off of your success, to manage your stress, manage your life, your health, and make sure everyone around you is happy. I've not once stopped to walk away and engage my wife, and it's past her bedtime because we have a good balance. You have politely, you know, acknowledged your family without interruption because they also understand what it is you're specifically doing tonight. Neither one of our families are surprised that we're both recording this together. That's it. The more that they ask what this is, the less you've done to balance your life. You
Absolutely.
Yeah, you made the point
And
to me earlier, like, I mean, I don't know if you wanna to hit on it a little bit more as we close, that when my wife was asking who these people were, right? But those questions are dangerous. They're so dangerous.
they were. And that communication, again, if you don't have it with your partner, you don't want to have that question where all you're doing is after a stream and the next day, well, yeah, I was streaming and I was talking to this person, and you start referring to them by their Twitch name. And you continue that over and over and over because now you are not having that communication with your partner, your spouse, your parent, your child. It's just not there. Even if you have pets, if your focus is all on the stream, you're not paying attention to your pets, and pets need attention. That that carries into that. you have to have a balance. The criticality of that. And I know on our futures, we're going to be talking about the stress, the depression, anxiety of streaming and having that schedule, especially once you've been doing it for a while. And we talked about it a little bit earlier today. Hey, I missed streaming yesterday. I really need to do this, this, this. And oh man, how could I do that? What am I going to do? How do I talk to them tomorrow? How do I explain it? Why did I fail? Why didn't I do better? Right? All of that self-doubt, that pressure you put on yourself because of that, it's a negative impact on your life and your home life, your work life, just life overall.
Mhm.
And again, I know we have that on our agenda. We have quite a few things that we have to talk about in future ones. So I'm not going to get too deep into that. But I think for where we are today, Gamer Dad, I think we're in a good place to kind of wrap up
Mhm.
tonight. We can keep going. Obviously, there's so much more involved in here, but communication. Just talk to me, Goose.
That's it. What is it
That's
that
it.
they need? What is it that those important people in your life, what are they going to need in order to support you so that you can both be happy? That's it.
Exactly. And what do you need to do to support them?
Mhm.
It's a two-way street.
Yep.
If you're going to be doing this, they have needs also. How can you balance that along with what you would like to do?
And there's no wrong answer as long as both parties are happy. While as long as you can find a way for you to both be or all be happy, it doesn't matter if you stream once a month, once a day, whatever,
Mhm.
whatever you guys can do together. I'm sure your wife is thrilled, right? You have something to do at night while she's at work, and then you unwind, but you're still spending time with her, with the kids. So who cares if it's 6 nights a week? It makes you happy. I'd love to stream more, but I'm too worn out. I nope. So
You know, it's funny. You're saying you're too worn out. I had this conversation while I was going to uh, my daughter's college today, and we were talking about sleep. And her comment was, "Well, you're old. You don't need to sleep as much." And I'm like, I think that's
excuse me.
the opposite of how it works.
I'm
The
pretty
older
sure
you
the
get, the
college
more
benders
sleep.
are well past both of us, right?
Yeah, it is. Trust me. I need my 5 hours of sleep. And she's like, "Well, you can do with less." I'm like, I,
I
that's
don't
not how it
think
works.
that's yeah, it doesn't work that way. Not healthy. So for those of you
uh,
listening, uh comment in any of the podcasts you're listening to, whichever media you're looking at, comment on your opinions. Does Garrus need more sleep? Is
oh
his
no.
daughter wrong? Let us know in
uh,
chat.
or on Discord or any of
Oh
the
man, I would
methods of
just
hitting us up on Linktree. No, that's not a poll question. We're not
it
going to
is?
ask that
No, we're
question.
gonna do
No.
it. You know what? I will feel successful if one person, just one person,
Uh,
connects to the Discord and gets into the topics and says, "Yes, I think Garrus needs more sleep." That's it. I'm
I
done.
I need our awesome editor to make sure we cut all of that.
It's probably gonna be edited out. I'm sure the closeout of the poll. I would be just fine if she cut that part out.
Uh, all right.
But Garrus,
Gamer Dad.
in true fashion, like we always do, I brought us in. Why don't you help us land this plane?
Let me get my calendar so I can say this right. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. It has been a true pleasure speaking and talking about communications and how you handle the balance between work life, home life, and your streaming life. As always, you can reach out to us many ways. Linktree, we are available. If you go and take a look at the show notes, you'll see the information there, along with links to our Discord, our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, all of the normal social media methods on there. Our next recording is going to be on the 28th of June, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, as always.
All
It
right,
is our
hang on.
normal
Let me
start.
let me let me cut you off. Say that part again with the right date. It's the 25th. 28th is a weekday.
You're right. The 25th, you'd think wearing glasses, I would see the thing that I'm holding in my hand that says Podcast Rec, the 25th, right after Saint Jean Baptiste Day in Quebec. The 25th of June will be our next episode. We'll be recording live. Gamer Dad will have it up on Twitch. We will have it on Facebook in our Facebook group. Again, we'd love to see you then. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the next 2 weeks and take care, friends.
Bye, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Gamer Dad.
Thanks, Geras. It's been fun.
It has been.
Da ba ba da, da ba dee da dee